You know, I think my estimates may have been wrong. A lot of you are quitting. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back today. Talk a little bit of a different one. This isn't usually the kind of content that I make, but a topic did come up recently from my amigo over at Library of Viking, Johan. Make sure you check out his video because I'm very much going to be piggybacking off of his video here. This is talking about why are YouTubers, and more specifically booktubers, quitting. Why are they leaving the platform? And I started thinking about it, and I guess I realized, yeah, a lot of people that I have interacted that kind of started channels either at a similar time as mine or a little after, or some that were influenced by another tuber actually decided, hey, I can give this a shot. I noticed they've started disappearing recently, and I was wondering, well, what in the world's going on? Is it just the usual things or what? So I started to dig a little deeper into it. And I guess the question that I get, I'll ask a lot is, well, how do you keep going? Well, how have you reached 5 years? So I got this question a lot with my 5th anniversary just passed by, like, why am I able to keep doing this and why so many others have come and gone? And not just newbies who, like successful channels have decided to just go ahead and shut things down. What exactly has happened? Well, first, let's kind of look about why I think some people have quit. And I'm gonna kind of talk about new YouTubers, some that have been doing it for over a year, and then like the long-time YouTubers who just kind of disappear. Now, again, I don't know everything. This is just kind of what I see here. And I'm going to be approaching this as a booktuber, not as just a YouTuber, because that's really what I deal mostly with. But some of these things I think are going to work for no matter what kind of content creator that you are on this platform. So let's begin with new tubers, as I like to call them. Lots of new tubers, and they seem to fizzle out really, really quick. And I think there's many, many reasons for that. Something when I was doing podcasting, something that I read when I first started really getting into it is they said that over 90% of people who start a podcast never make it to episode number 3. And I think that's kind of similar with YouTube. Now look, when you're talking particularly about BookTube, a lot of book readers, we're introverts. We aren't real crazy about getting in front of that camera. Obviously, there's no problem for me. But for a lot of people, it is really hard to decide to turn on that camera and start talking to it and actually make eye contact with it, you know, and try to connect with an audience that you've never actually met in person. And it's very, very true, I think, that you get that initial shock. First, it's like, is nobody going to watch this? And then it's, oh God, what if somebody watches this? It's kind of how you feel about it first. But another big thing is, guys, they realize how much work it is. It really is a lot of work. I mean, there's planning, there's performance, there's post-production, there's uploading, there's editing, there's labeling, there's all of the marketing and the kind of advertising that you do. You really go into this as a writer, director, producer of pretty much everything and the marketing department for your own channel. And people realize it is more than just turn your phone on and record what you're going to say, stop, and press the upload button. Now, there are people who do that. There are some who do that to great success. I think about Philip Chase. I think about Brian Lee Durfee. They're very successful at doing it that way. Others, they try to do too much too soon, I think. You know, they make sure their lighting's perfect. They make sure their editing is perfect. They make sure that they're doing all these crazy graphic effects and stuff because they have that talent. And it's like, that's great that you have that talent, but it'll burn you out really, really quick. So I think that's really a problem there with a lot of new tubers, and just the startup costs. You know, you think about how much it costs for a nice camera, for some lighting, for a good microphone, for editing software. It's a lot of things that people don't consider. Now, look, again, it's very easy. Anyone with a smartphone, and we just about all have them now, can do this YouTubing thing. So it really just matters about how much you want to put into it, I think. But I do think that a lot of new tubers do try to do too much too soon, and they realize, oh no, I'm definitely not ready for this. And they quit before they even have, you know, 10 videos ever posted on their channel. How about YouTubers that quit after about a year plus? Now, this is a lot more common because I will see people who really are gung-ho about it for the first year, and then they kind of just, it starts with, I'm going to take a break, and then they never come back. Everybody starts to realize how much nicer things were on the outside, I guess, you know, and they decided they're never going to come back. Now, I think with this, is a lot of people just, they don't experience the rapid success that they want. Now me, I went into this early saying, I'm not doing this for making money. There are a lot of people who were like, yes, I want to make money right away. And they go into it with only wanting to do this for monetary purposes. And no criticism from me, man. Make your money. I'm always about, if you can make a buck doing anything, if you're good at something, never do it for free. I agree with that. So if that is something that you went into it expecting, I will say this isn't a get rich quick scheme? Definitely not. But it really, I think you're going to have, your mileage is going to vary a little bit on that one. But I think that a lot of, after about a year, they can look back and look at their data and say, you know, I'm spending more money than I'm actually making off this channel. I've been breaking even off of it, and that could be deflating, and that'll make people go ahead and say, okay, you know what, I gave it a try, I'm glad that I did that, I made some good connections, but I'm going to go back to my regular life now, or just being a YouTube viewer at this point. But the biggest killer, I think, is when you're making really great content and no one is watching it. You know, and I wish that there was a magic bullet, guys. That there really isn't. There's so many creators out there, and the YouTube algorithm can be quite choosy. It's hard to find new creators if, you know, they aren't out there really pushing their content, they ain't out there making connections, and you aren't actively looking for them. You're probably not going to find them. So I can see, as a creator, I mean, I have times where I will spend, you know, 4 hours working on an intro video, and, you know, it gets the least views I've had in 3 months. It's deflating. I get that. And when you're really, really new at it, it really can take the wind out of your sails, because you spend that much time into it, you feel like people are going to appreciate it and there's going to be an audience for it. But sometimes they just don't find it. I think the biggest thing is when your growth just stops on a dime. I talked about the algorithm here. I wish I understood the YouTube algorithm. Every time I start to think I get it, they change it. You know, your growth can just stop on a dime. My channel, as of recording this, I'm at 115,000 subscribers, and I still have days where I get 6 new subs. You know, and I know that some people out there are like, oh, I'd love to get 6 new subs in a day. When you're at the moderate level of success that I am, because I still consider it moderate, I feel like that's low. That's really, really low. So that will still happen. I will have, you know, the first quarter of every year is really tough. I don't know if YouTube changes something the first quarter every single year, but it's really, really tough. It's peaks and valleys in this, guys. I mean, you will have something that you never expect that's a runaway hit, and something you think is going to be for sure just a banger, and like nobody watches it. It's just the way that it happens sometimes. So I mean, I look at my numbers, and yeah, I wish my engagement was much higher for the amount of content that I put out. I do wish that my engagement was higher. For my audience size, I wish my engagement was higher, but I can see why that does really just kind of drag people down when you feel like, okay, I'm making rapid growth, and then out of nowhere, you drop off of a cliff. It happens. Again, it happens to me still in year number 5 of doing this. But I think general burnout, lack of consistency would be the big one. I tell the people all the time, if I give you any advice, is be consistent. If you say you're going to put out 2 videos a week, put out 2 videos a week. You know, and that's hard. That's not easy for everyone to do sometimes. It's either if it's not coming up with new ideas or it's just a lack of time. It's hard for everybody to do that. And you can just flat out burn yourself out. If you're not having fun doing this, it's quite easy to walk away. And that leads me to why long-time tubers will quit. Now, this is what I'm talking about. At least 3 years plus, where you'll see them just have their video out of nowhere where they say, I am leaving YouTube, or I am done with this. It's been a great time. Thank you. Farewell. I appreciate it. Now, some people do it for an April Fool's joke. Some people do it for attention, and they always plan to come back. And some people are serious. They're done with it. They've just had enough of it, and they leave. And that's the one that really gets me scratching my head. It's like, you've had some kind of modicum of success on this platform. What happened? I mean, what made it not fun for you anymore? Number one thing, and I think I can relate to this, guys, is life takes priority. People, when they start their channel, are usually very different people than they are after 5-6 years of doing this. You know, they have a real-time job, they have family, they have kids, they have real life responsibilities sometimes, because again, not everybody gets in this as a full-time job. It is just a hobby for a lot of us, and it just becomes easier to say, you know what, that's not anything I depend on financially. It's easy for me to walk away if, you know, you aren't like me and you haven't created like a huge community, you know, for Discord and other things, and you feel like it's easy for you to walk away. I feel like people can do that. Yeah, I mean, look, my kids are getting bigger and bigger, and I start to feel like, hey, I'm missing them sometimes, you know, and that's when I kind of take a step back, or I'll make a couple of fluffy videos or something because I want to make sure I'm spending time with my kids first. So we will make that a priority. You know, it happens to some people, you know, when you start your channel and you don't have any kids and you have a couple kids and things change a little bit, that starts to take priority, or you get a job promotion or something, it just kind of starts to take all of your time. It really can happen. But I do know the negative comments, guys. The negative comments can take quite a toll on some people. Now, I jokingly post a lot of those on my social media because I think they're hilarious. What I've said is that I get 99.9% to 0.1% of just basically positive comments. And that's why I find the really, really nasty ones just over the top, almost to the point where I feel like, are they trolling just to see if I'll actually post this on social media? But some people can't handle that. They can't shake it off like that. With me is I worked in sports writing, sports podcasting, and podcasting about movies, music, TV, and video games. You are not going to find a more nasty crowd out there than those communities, you know, for real. I mean, every single time you write about a sports team, oh, well, why do you hate their team so much? Every time you say that this isn't the greatest movie of all time, well, you know how that usually turns out. So I had dealt with a lot of those nasty things when I started this, so I had actually built up that wall of knowing these are complete strangers, and they're probably just, I mean, they probably peaked in junior high, if I'm being blunt with you here. And this, if they think that really getting on a stranger's YouTube page and writing some deeply personal, nasty comment about them because they didn't like a book or something, or they didn't like a video game, it's just like, yeah, to me, that's loser stuff. But, you know, it's hard for some people to accept that because, again, like I said, most people, especially in the booktubing side, are introverts. They're not used to things like that. So when they hear nasty, negative commentary all of the time, just because you are honest about one of your opinions, it's not going to go over too well. I mean, I've had lots and lots of nasty comments that I never post because they're just so bad and so ridiculous that I'm just like, okay, that person's gone, and I never have to see them again. So I think just you have to be able to just kind of and just move along with your life and realize that, you know, that they want you to be angry. You know, that's why I always just say thanks for watching. But again, I understand not everybody can do that, and it will just eat away at people sometimes, and they'll finally just be like, I mean, I don't want to say that if a negative comment's really bother you that much, maybe you do need to fix something. To me, I was always able to take criticism. I mean, there was things like when I started and I got criticism and I was like, you know what, that's right. My intro is too long. You know what, I am going too much. I am saying the same phrases over and over again. I am doing that too much. Maybe I need to keep a conscious effort on not doing that. The only one that I don't listen to is when people tell me to stop taking sips of my drink while I'm recording because I just think it's fun. And I don't have a bunch of cuts in my video, so I have to quench my thirst a little bit. But again, the YouTube algorithm changes are really the ones that crush everybody because there are a lot of people that have been doing this for a long time. They either use this for, you know, vacation money, funny money, or it is their full-time job. So when YouTube just seems to want to crush creators, and I don't know if it's just because they have so many users now, they're trying to pick the winners and losers. I don't really know how that works, but it does seem like sometimes, are you trying to chase your creators off? Because it seems like you're trying to chase your creators off because they change the algorithm so dang much. And I mean, like I'll have a video like recently, I had a video that has like 40,000 views, guys. I made $12 off of it. It didn't used to be that way. We'll just put it that way. I made $12 off a video of 40,000 views. And the engagement time is over 75% of the video, so you can't even blame it on that. My numbers look, I find similar videos with those same exact numbers, and it was a lot more money. So something changes all the time, and that will completely deflate somebody, especially if they're depending on this for their livelihood. They'll say, okay, well, I've got to go do something else. That's why I've always told people when they ask me, have you ever thought about doing this full time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This thing is way too unstable for me to ever say, I'm going to walk away from my job with benefits and 401k for something that could be gone tomorrow. I mean, look at all these people that do TikTok right now. You know, they do that for as a living, and it might go poof. You never know. So, yeah, that's why I never do it. But that's why I think a lot of people have been leaving, because YouTube just continues to change their terms of service. They continue to change the algorithm. They continue to change ad revenue sharing, and it's a total drag. I mean, they already chased off all of the video game streamers. They all went to Twitch because, you know, YouTube likes to keep about half of that money you get in your super chats, you know. So again, I'm not saying they're trying to chase off their users, but I'm not saying they aren't. At least that's how I feel. And I just think it's just not enough monetary rewards in the end. If people don't feel like they feel like they're putting way too much into this to just keep working for free, basically. And I understand that. I understand that. For me, I started this is I want to start a positive community, and I want to be able to talk to people about grown-up things. You know, that was want to be my outlet. You know, this was something I was going to be doing anyway. But I know a lot of people go into this wanting to make some money, and if they aren't, they are donezo. So what helped me? What helped me get to this 5-year level that I'm at right now? Like I said, I went into this as a hobby. This was something I was going to be doing anyway. I really just did this as like a brand expansion for my podcast at the time, because my co-host didn't really read anything that I read, and I found out there was quite an audience for something like this out there. But it was just more about you know, it's more than just like an employment thing for me. Again, I just wanted to find a nice community that was positive, you know, because the internet can be quite nasty, as I'm sure you know. I wanted to make a positive community where people could feel welcome, no matter what you believe in your real life. If you like to read, man, you were welcome here to talk about those things. That was kind of the community that I wanted to build. And I look at like my Discord, it's like coming up on 10,000 users now, and it's a completely positive experience because we have a couple of easy rules in place. You know, no politics and don't be a dick. You know, and I think that's very hard. And it's a completely positive community, and that's something that I am really, really proud of. You know, I think that of those users, I think less than 10% of them actually watch my videos. You know, I really believe that. But I'm okay with that because I wanted to provide that sense of community for people to go to where they could find like-minded reading individuals and talk to them. So that's really kind of what I went into this to do. It's all about that community, and I've got that, so I'm quite happy with it. Getting to know other creators has been a nice benefit. Like, I would consider someone like Philip a real life friend now, and we've never actually met in person. You know, we text about stuff that's not about books and stuff. We talk to each other about our kids and things. I consider those real friends, you know, so I've made real connections doing this, and that sense of community amongst my peers is kind of another thing that's kept me going because, yeah, it would be really rough if absolutely no one actually spoke to you that did the same thing that you did. You can vent to each other sometimes. You can talk about your real life and kind of just talk about your kids and stuff. It just makes it feel like, hey, cool, these are easy to be friends with. These people are easy to be friends with because they got the same kinds of likes and dislikes that I do. And it's easy to, you know, turn that into a friendship. But the constantly changing algorithm, I won't lie, man, it's annoying. It is annoying. And I will have those moments too where I feel like, okay, well, I'm just going to take a break, you know, but I feel like that's wouldn't really change anything. In fact, it probably hurts you even more. But really, for me, I don't feel like I'm a prisoner or anything. I never feel like, I've got to make that video today. I don't feel like that. I've wanted to do this for years. I was doing podcasting once a week before I did this, you know, and I never missed a week or whatever. So this hasn't really been like a thing. And those were 2-hour podcasts every week. So this is actually less. Now, yeah, I don't like editing as much as everyone else, but look, the negative comments don't bother me. I think they're funny. So as for the time, I get those messages all the time. Like today, I went to my P.O. box and I got some things that some viewers sent me. And I had a 4-page letter from someone who first started watching my channel and said they didn't like Stephen King, and now they would consider themselves a constant watcher or a constant reader because they are a constant watcher of all my Stephen King stuff, and they become a huge Stephen King fan. To me, that's amazing. That's amazing. Or someone who will say, you know what, I was not really into reading anymore, and I stumbled upon your channel, and now I read like 50 books a year. That was the goal of this channel. I wanted more people to not only read more, but also feel free to discuss these things with others. And it's great if we can disagree and still be pals afterwards. But my final thoughts on this topic. I think this is a great topic by Johan because it is a real problem. It is a real problem. And I think that a lot of these issues that I've talked about are a big reason why. If I could give any advice, and again, like I said, 115,000, I would say it's moderately successful. I'm not quit your job money or anything like that with this. So again, I don't know everything. Just going off of my experience, keep it fun. That's all I can tell you, really. Just keep it fun. Engage your audience. Keep them coming back. Try to make that connection by being very, very relatable and personable. Be a positive commenter. If you're getting nasty comments, ignore them. Or, you know, just say something nice. Don't reply negatively because that's what they want, man. They want that, and it will never, ever end well. And don't count on this as a job replacement. You know, if this is a nice little supplement on the side, that's awesome. For me, it was like, okay, cool. This is something where I can make enough off of it to support my book buying habit. That's been my expectation the whole time. That's cool. I can get a couple books a month, you know, off of what I make off this channel. That's really cool. But again, in the end, guys, just don't expect overnight success. I podcasted for a decade before I did this. I think it took me almost 4.5 years to get to 100,000 subscribers, and that was of 4 to 5 videos per week. So it's a lot of work. You know, there is no magic bullet. There's no way to really take shortcuts if you're wanting to experience growth or you're wanting to actually make this a job replacement. You got to work hard. There's really no other way I could put it outside of that. But again, with me, if you're not wanting to do those things, that's the best way to stay on this platform for this long is to keep it fun, keep it a hobby, and don't put any, don't make it a job, you know? In the end, don't make it a job because that will kill you every single time. So guys, that's what worked for me. I'm really surprised at the number of people that I just think about that I talked to just a year ago, and they're not really on BookTube anymore, or 2 years ago. And I talk to them all the time, and I'll be like, hey man, would love it if you came back. And they just like, I don't know if it's really right for me right now. And that's, again, do what makes you happy. If it stops being fun, or you just can't find the time to do it, hey, why pressure ourselves, especially if it's giving you more time to read? I do encourage that. So guys, that's my thoughts on why I feel like people are quitting the tube. I don't know. Again, I don't pretend to have all the answers. I'm just kind of going with off of what I have experienced on this platform and some of the feelings that I have had. And that's somehow why I'm still here, because I decided to keep it fun, keep it positive, and I hope you will do the same. In the comments down below, I'd love to hear what you guys think on this topic. Were you a booktuber or a YouTuber? Did you quit? Why'd you quit? What made you keep going? All those things. It's all open for discussion down below. So hit me in the comments, guys, and I will talk to you there.